The silence in his small apartment was deafening, a void that seemed to swallow every sound. It was a silence once filled with laughter, music, and whispered secrets, a symphony of love that now felt like a distant dream. It was a silence that now screamed the name of his beloved, Maya, echoing through the empty rooms and his hollow heart, a silence that mocked him with memories of her touch, her scent, her radiant smile, each memory a dagger to his soul. She was gone, taken too soon by a cruel twist of fate, leaving Vikram lost in a universe that suddenly felt cold and empty, devoid of meaning. Vikram, a man of science and logic, found himself seeking solace in the only place that made sense. Einstein's equations, the language of the cosmos. He buried himself in his work, seeking refuge in the language of the cosmos, hoping to find answers in the stars. The equations, once merely academic pursuits, now held a new, desperate hope, a glimmer of possibility in the vast darkness. They whispered of possibilities, of a universe far grander and more mysterious than he could have ever imagined. A universe where anything was possible. A universe where perhaps, just perhaps, love could transcend even death itself, where the bonds of the heart could stretch across the cosmos. Vikram pored over the equations, his mind racing, his heart aching, driven by a need to find her, to bring her back. He saw not just mathematical symbols, but glimpses of other worlds, other realities, each one a potential path to Maya. He saw the potential for bending space and time, for collapsing the infinite distances between stars into traversable wormholes, a bridge to the impossible. He clung to these possibilities, fueled by a grief so profound it threatened to consume him, yet also gave him a purpose. He would find Maya even if it meant chasing her to the very edge of the universe, to the farthest reaches of space and time. As days bled into weeks, Vikram's obsession grew, his determination unwavering, his resolve unbreakable. He neglected his work, his friends, even his own well-being, consumed by the need to find her, to bring her back. He became a ghost haunting his own life, driven by an almost impossible dream, a dream that defied reason and logic. But the universe, it seemed, had taken notice of his pain, and it whispered back in the language of mathematics, beckoning him on a journey that defied both reason and logic, a journey that promised the impossible. Einstein's equations weren't just formulas to Vikram, they were poems written in the language of the universe. Each symbol, every equation spoke of a reality that transcended the limitations of human perception. They spoke of warped space-time, of black holes that devoured light and time itself, and of wormholes, those theoretical tunnels that could connect two distant points in the universe. He found himself drawn to the concept of wormholes, those elusive shortcuts through the fabric of space-time. They were, in theory, the key to traversing the vast cosmic ocean, to reaching destinations that lay billions of light-years away. He studied the works of Kip Thorne, those intricate diagrams of folded space-time, and saw in them not just scientific concepts, but a map, a route to Maya. Driven by a mix of grief and scientific curiosity, Vikram dedicated himself to unraveling the secrets of wormhole creation. He spent countless nights hunched over his calculations, the faint glow of his computer screen illuminating his determined face. The equations swirled in his mind, a symphony of numbers and symbols that hinted at a reality beyond human comprehension. He knew the risks, the dangers of tampering with forces beyond his control, but the thought of reaching Maya, of holding her in his arms again, fueled his resolve. The universe, it seemed, was testing him, challenging his intellect and his sanity. But Vikram was undeterred. He had glimpsed a glimmer of hope in the cold, vast expanse of space, and he would not be swayed. His love for Maya had become his compass, guiding him through the labyrinthine corridors of theoretical physics. He would find her, no matter the cost. After months of relentless work, fueled by an almost manic energy, Vikram achieved the unthinkable. His days and nights blurred into one as he pored over equations, his mind racing with possibilities and his heart pounding with anticipation. He had unlocked the secrets of the equations, piecing together the framework for a device capable of distorting space-time. Each line of chalk on the board represented a step closer to his goal, a step closer to rewriting the rules of reality itself. The machine, cobbled together from salvaged lab equipment and spare parts, hummed with an unstable energy, its metal frame groaning under the strain of the immense forces it was attempting to harness. It was a patchwork of ingenuity, a testament to human creativity in the face of impossible odds. It was a testament to both human ingenuity and the desperate lengths to which love could drive a man. Vikram's determination was fueled by a singular purpose, a burning desire to reunite with Maya, the love of his life who had been lost to the mysteries of the universe. Standing before his creation, a tangle of wires and metal that defied logic and reason, Vikram felt a surge of both terror and exhilaration. The machine was a physical manifestation of his hopes and fears, a bridge between the known and the unknown. He was about to embark on a journey into the unknown, a one-way ticket to a destination that existed only in the realm of theoretical physics. The equations had suggested a possibility, but the reality of stepping into the machine was a leap of faith. There was no guarantee of success, no assurance that he would survive the journey, yet he didn't hesitate. His hand hovered over the control panel, his mind racing with thoughts of Maya and the life they had shared. He punched in the final coordinates, a string of numbers that represented his last hope, his only chance to see Maya again. Each digit was a promise, a vow to defy the boundaries of their universe. With a deafening roar that shook the very foundations of his building, the machine sprang to life. The air vibrated with energy, the walls trembled, and Vikram felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Arcs of blinding energy crackled around him, the air growing heavy and distorted. The room was filled with a brilliant light, and Vikram could feel the fabric of reality bending around him. He felt himself being pulled forward, sucked into a vortex of swirling colors and blinding light. The sensation was overwhelming, a mix of fear and wonder as he was drawn into the unknown. Time lost all meaning as he was ripped from the fabric of his reality, his last thought a whispered prayer to the universe, a plea for a miracle. He hoped that somewhere, somehow, Maya was waiting for him. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the chaos subsided. The roaring energy and blinding light gave way to a serene calm, and Vikram found himself in a new reality. Vikram stumbled out of the remnants of the wormhole, his senses reeling, his body trembling. The journey had taken its toll, but he was alive and he had crossed the threshold. He found himself standing not in some distant galaxy, but in a place eerily familiar yet subtly altered. The landscape was recognizable, but there were differences, small details that hinted at a different reality. He was no longer in his own universe, but had crossed the cosmic threshold into another, a parallel world filled with infinite possibilities. The journey had been perilous, but the destination held the promise of new beginnings and the hope of reuniting with Maya. The air was different here, cleaner, crisper, as if the world itself was younger, less jaded. It felt like stepping into a time capsule where the essence of life was distilled into its purest form. He was standing in a bustling marketplace, the sights and sounds both alien and familiar. The cacophony of voices, the vibrant colors, and the myriad of scents created a sensory overload that was both overwhelming and exhilarating. It was like stepping into a memory, the details slightly askew, the colors more vibrant, the emotions rawer. Every corner he turned, every face he saw seemed to pull at the strings of his heart, evoking a sense of déjà vu. His heart pounded in his chest, a mixture of fear and anticipation. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, making it hard to breathe, yet he couldn't turn back now. This was it, the moment of truth. He had come too far, faced too many challenges to falter now. His resolve hardened, and he knew he had to see this through. He began walking, his feet moving as if on autopilot, guided by an invisible force. Each step felt predestined, as if the universe itself was leading him to his destiny. The streets, the buildings, even the people seemed to echo with a strange familiarity, as if He were reliving fragments of a forgotten dream. The architecture was a blend of the old and the new, creating a surreal tapestry of time. He saw a younger version of himself, his face unmarred by the lines of grief and loss, walking hand in hand with a woman. Their laughter was infectious, their joy palpable, a stark contrast to the weight he now carried. His breath caught in his throat, the sight of his younger self, so full of hope and promise, was almost too much to bear. It was Maya, her laughter like a melody that tugged at his heartstrings. Her presence was a balm to his soul, a reminder of what he had lost and what he still yearned for. As he watched them, their happiness, their carefree joy felt like a knife twisting in his gut. The pain of knowing what was to come, the inevitable heartbreak, was almost unbearable. He had almost forgotten what it felt like to see Maya like that, her eyes sparkling with life, her laughter echoing in his ears. It was a bittersweet reminder of the love they once shared. They were just kids on the cusp of a future they didn't know they wouldn't have. Their dreams were boundless, their love untainted by the harsh realities of life. He ached to reach out, to warn them, to protect them from the pain that awaited them, but he knew he couldn't. The rules of time were immutable, and he was bound by them. He had to remind himself that this was not his Maya, not his timeline to manipulate. The past was a closed book, and he was merely a visitor in this chapter. He was an observer, a ghost from another reality, and he had to tread carefully. Any interference could have catastrophic consequences, and he couldn't risk it. Yet, watching them, so full of life, so oblivious to the heartbreak that loomed in their future, ignited a spark of hope within him. Perhaps, just perhaps, there was a way to alter their fate without breaking the rules. Perhaps in this universe he could change their fate. The thought filled him with a renewed sense of purpose, a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, he could make a difference.